In the Shaka Tank, we gather success stories, how they started, what they've learned, their faithful journey, and the lifelong principle that they carry. War scars, war stories, we've been through it all. Welcome to the Shaka Tank. Today, we got Pono, Chad, and our special guest, Tumua.
Let's go.
What's going on, bro?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, thanks for coming on, man.
This is an amazing studio, and everything's all professional. I feel like
Yeah, we did it specifically for you today.
I feel like I'm on the set of Hawaii Five-0.
Well, man, hey, in my opinion, local legend, bro. And
thank you.
congratulations on all the
Thank you.
success that you've had. I was just saying, I think we know similar people in the comedy space, but here's my question I have for you, just to get going. How did you break out from just being local brada, you know what I mean, comedy locally, and now you're like doing shows
Touring.
Yeah.
It's. I gotta give thanks to all my fans. It started off with social media as well, but people don't know that. People think I did like the skits first and then stand up, but it was actually the other way around. Wow. I was doing stand up first. I took a stand up comedy class at the University of Hawaii. Shout out to UH. I just took it just to have like an easy A in the class. I seen it in the class description. It was me and my other teammate Hunter Hughes, another football player.
Yeah,
if you know Hunter,
yeah. He's awesome.
So he took it with
athlete.
me. Yeah, all around athlete. Yeah. So he took it with me. I think it was like 5 people in the class, and we had fun. And
5 guys in the class. Is
5
it?
guys. Yeah, I think you needed.
All got A's.
Yeah, I know I got an A.
He was the only one that passed, obviously.
Right.
But I didn't know that part of the class requirements was to do like open mics. So they would physically require you to go to like these bars and do comedy and have the owner or the manager of the bar sign a sheet that you came here and
That's crazy.
and you did your time.
What?
And that was some of the requirements.
Yeah.
So I didn't know
What
that.
year was this?
My sophomore or junior, I think sophomore year of college.
Did you put this out at all? Like those stand-up skits like that you did?
No, I didn't have those filmed or anything. But
Wow.
yeah, they're all like just like 3 to 5 minute sets.
Yeah. You remember the first set that you ever did?
A little bit, yeah.
Because was that during that time during college? Was that like?
Yeah, it was during college. Yeah, so
Yeah.
like I'll do those shows and then wake up in the morning to go practice at 6. Yeah.
Wow.
But like our final presentation, we had to perform a live 10 minutes in front of a live audience. So they had like a whole show and they promoted it. It was at Anna O'Brien's in this Irish pub bar by University of Hawaii. Yeah. And I remember like it was yesterday. The whole football team showed up because they seen that Tumua and Hunter's on the show. Like what? And if people know me, I'm kind of like a quiet guy. So
You're a quiet guy.
I feel if I'm not in comedy.
Give me the mic, give me the camera, and I'm not. But everywhere else, I'm a quiet guy. Yeah.
If you don't know me, back then, so they were kind of shocked. They're like, I want to see I didn't.
What this guy gonna say?
Yeah, what's this guy gonna say?
Yeah.
So like almost the whole football team showed up, and at that club there was the most people that ever showed up ever, and they were impressed, and I crushed it. The promoter there, Jose Dynamite, he runs Comedy U and a bunch of these small local comedy shows to this day, but he seen me there and he kept asking me to come back, and I haven't stopped since. So it's been about 7 years of doing stand up.
That's crazy.
Wow.
And that was like 2016, 2017 is like when I started. And then the pandemic hit 2020, and everything shut down. I had a good things going for me. I had like a monthly comedy show every second Fridays of the month. I'll perform at Ko'olau Golf Course.
Okay.
At Honey's Restaurant. So I had that going for me. And it was a good thing just because I had a lot of family on the east side, and they would come down, and I was gaining some fans that way naturally. I probably had like maybe 5,000 followers on Instagram. Wasn't really posting that much stuff.
This is 2020. Had 5,000.
Yeah, like around 2020.
Oh dang.
So
okay.
like pre-COVID or
Pre-COVID.
Wow.
Right.
And then COVID shut down, so that I lost that spot at the Ko'olau Golf Course. I think that they closed completely, even to this day. They didn't have those small shows with Jose Dynamite. So I was just at home, and I was thinking, okay, what am I gonna do? Am I just not gonna do comedy anymore? I don't know how long this lockdown's gonna last. And some of my friends was like, oh, you should put up some like sketches or skits.
Yeah.
Because I would see it on social media, and I'm like, nah, I'm not like that. I'm a real comedian. I need a microphone and an audience.
Yeah.
But we were just at home by ourselves, and so I was like, okay, whatever, let's do it. So I remember my first skit video I put up was it was a hot topic at the time, but toilet papers. Everybody was buying toilet paper.
Yeah.
So I did like a toilet paper drug dealer skit. Like I was selling toilet paper. Yeah. It was me and my dad. Well, my dad was the customer buying in the car.
Yeah.
Because it was just us at home. I was like, oh, let's film this. And then the day I posted it, it went viral and it went on the news in Hawaii. So I was like, oh wow, the first video I posted on the news, and a lot of people are commenting on it. I'm like, okay, this is what the local people want. And I just kept pumping skit after skit. I think I posted like 1 to 2 videos a week. That's what that was my goal to do.
Wow.
And it would be like from anything from like job professions, just doing parodies, like typical local guy, a lot of like Hawaii stuff, just to gain that following. And soon you know it, my followers boosted up, hit 10,000 fast, and then just kept going. And then when we finally had the green light to come back to live shows, I think it was like the ending of 2020, they gave us like that little with the glass and all the mask restrictions. So I put up a show. Like, yeah. So I got the green light to do one show at the Blue Note.
Okay.
We put that on sale. It sold out like within 10 minutes. And so we added another show, and it sold out again. And we kept adding, and I ended up doing 12 sold out shows in a row. Wow. So 3 weekends. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 2 shows each.
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 weekends. Crazy. Yeah. So 246, 12 shows. And then from there, I was like, oh wow, this is the algorithm. You do these skits, you gain followers. People like, oh, he does comedy, I want to see him live. So everything was guided towards my stand-up. And then from there, I just kept gaining more and more followers. And then I think after the Blue Note, we did the Blaisdell Concert Hall, which was 2,100 seats. I sold that out 3 times. Sheesh. And then
so you just missed a sold out.
Yeah, then
whatever
that's his next tour. It's called Tumua.
Yeah.
Sold out.
Sold out.
After the Warrior tour, Tumua. Sold out. But bro, that's interesting to hear that most people probably think it was from his skits online that got him. Yeah. But you actually was stand up first.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because a lot of guys, like today we see it a lot. Like a lot of these guys are trying to do stand up now because they're seeing like that's the path you got to take. Right. But I think. Personally, I think there's a comedy boom right now. There was a comedy boom before, like in the 90s, I think, but now it's coming back. Like I think comedy is more popular than ever. I don't know if it's just because I'm a comedian, but I see it constantly everywhere.
Bro, I think so. A lot of it has to do with the fact that like mental health is a big problem.
Yeah, laughter.
Like,
laughter.
Bro, you just said like I think that's interesting because I'm like analytical about just seasons and like numbers and what. You went from 5,000 followers, boom, to 10,000. And they never looked back. Sold out, right? So the weird thing is back then too, I noticed a lot of people during the pandemic blew up.
Yeah,
and it
pandemic,
was like,
because everybody's on their phones,
right?
And everyone's staying at home, and they're trying to be engaged, and like you said, mental health is big, and they just trying to laugh, and I think laughter is the best medicine.
Amen to that, dude.
Yeah,
That's funny. I think I love your stuff because, especially people in Hawaii. I think like especially when you do like more of the like kind of like political ones, like those are super funny because I think people looking in, especially us in Hawaii, like we can be sometimes like the laughing stock when it comes to heavier political things. You know what I mean? But I love that you put a spin on it and then you make it like something that we can all enjoy and laugh.
I had a good
together.
run with David Ige for a while because that was what everybody was talking about. That was, and now it's Josh Green and. Everybody just takes their turn when they come up there.
I think you bring a lot of levity to like us, like Hawaiians, like people from here. Like it's really refreshing.
Oh, thank you.
Definitely appreciate it. And I think like we love seeing Tumua on stage. I think I want to like try to dive a little bit in like Tumua off stage if you're okay with that.
Yeah, off stage.
I mean, have you ever like I would love to talk about faith just a little bit, but have you ever like come to Inspire? I mean, like we're in this.
Yeah. Have you I was telling him that this is like the church we've been coming to. Not recently. I just had a baby, so we're trying
congratulations.
to. Thank you.
How old?
She made 1 month yesterday.
Noise.
Yeah,
man,
so
you don't
still
look
fresh.
that tired, bro. Hey, you gotta put in more work, man. Hey, you need more diamond. Hey, I'm calling you out right now. Hey, 1 month, you should be like, I can't go on podcast. I'm drooling right now, bro.
But she is up most of the time. Like I told him, like her sweet spot is from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. That's when she's like the most awake for some reason.
So when's your times?
I mean, I just give them to the mom. Just gotta eat. Yeah. Just
babe, you breastfeeding, right? Yeah.
Hey, but congratulations, man.
Thank
First
you.
baby.
Crazy, congrats.
First baby. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep, that's a blessing.
Buckle up, bro.
Yeah.
Girl, boy.
Girl.
Ooh, dad. Girl, dad, huh?
Yeah. New material though.
Chad knows. Yeah, new material.
That's a whole play right there. That's.
But you're saying so you've come.
So I've been going to New Hope, Oahu for a while.
Yeah.
Just from when I was a kid, and that's just where my parents planted the seed of God with me was at New Hope, and then
awesome.
We stayed there for a while, and then we moved around a couple places, so it was kind of hard to. Back then, it was at the Farrington location, and then now it's like Sand Island. But now we live in Tuinei, so we've been coming over here, which is great. We love Pastor Mike Kai, and but yeah, from when I was a small kid, I was Jesus was planted in me, and I'm not the best Christian, but I try to be better every day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any best
man.
Christians.
Yeah.
I think that's everybody.
Yeah.
That's great. No, I mean I love Pastor Mike, and I think Pastor Mike's probably the funniest preacher that I know for sure.
Yeah, I love his delivery and his style, because he came up to me and he told me that they study comedians just to like pastors study comedians just to see how they can hold an audience's attention and the timing and everything. Yeah. And I could see it in him. He's good. He makes people engaged, and he can sense if we're not paying attention, and kind of just like wakes us back up. And it's hard to do that as a pastor, because I've seen some pastors who just run through the whole thing like a robot. But I love that he lives in the moment and he gets the message across.
Yeah, and shout out to Pastor Mike or Mike.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be here.
Well,
today.
he wanted to hop on, but and I wanted to hop into this too. He's on a break. He's on a sabbatical right now. He's been jamming, and then he's off. So so I wanted to ask you too. I work with a lot of influencers and people that are like doing a lot of appearances and working. How important is it to take a break?
I think it's important. Right now, it's kind of like a small break for me, just like a couple months or so. But I mean, I get the itch of getting back on stage and constantly doing stuff. I enjoy doing this work. I don't even call it work, but I think it is important to take a break, no matter what your profession is. Need some time for yourself. Need some time to relax and regroup and recharge.
Yeah.
In anything in life, But for me, I love performing. Like my next show is next week, and it's my show before that was only last month. So
But I mean, taking a break, but you're never off. You're always cracking jokes. It's just a natural thing for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which I think that's cool. That's just part of who you are.
So what do you do to like stay like? I know a lot of other comedians are always trying to figure out that next bit.
Yeah.
And like they put themselves in situations where they're writing a lot. And it's work, right? It's not just like, oh yeah, I just came up with it. It's like, no, I'm working at my craft, right?
Yeah.
And in the Shaka Tank, again, we're trying to pull success stories and kind of pull out the major keys that got you to where you got. And by the way, this episode is sponsored by Inspire Collective, and it's basically a business group that puts a lot of like-minded business folks together. But with you, Tumua, you've experienced like in kind of a short period of time, right, pandemic to now, you just had this amazing sold out growth, right? You're crushing it. So one, again, give you your flowers and like you're doing your thing, right? But to that, like, what do you do to stay creative, and what do you think is kind of like in the Tumua book of success? Like how did you get like your thing going, or like what works for you? Your playbook.
I'm just like constantly thinking of like you said, like, oh, that'll be a good bit, like if I pull up my phone, I have a bunch of notes of like just like ideas of like, okay, this would be a good idea for whether it's a sketch or a stand-up bit, and as I'm becoming a more like a veteran in stand-up, I'm realizing that it's the experiences that you need more than just trying to feel like, okay, I gotta write stuff down. Like live through experiences. Like right now I have a baby, so I have a good 10 minutes of of becoming a dad and dealing with a
Let's bring
newborn.
him out now. Test it out tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you.
World premiere. Tumua, new content on the baby. Yeah.
No, but it's just stuff like that. Like it's just like things that you go through in life, traveling and maybe you experience. Like yesterday, I was at Whole Foods and the cashier was had a sign that said "I am deaf," and so like we were like kind of just. And for some reason, I started to act like I was deaf too. I don't know why. Like, I was talking like, oh, I don't think I'm back. Like I don't know why I just did that. I became like deaf too. But like right there, I saw that something potential.
It's like when you meet someone and you start talking pigeon.
You adapt to them. Yeah. So I don't know why I started doing that, but but like just right there, I was like, okay, that could probably be a bit on stage. You know. So it's the things you deal with. Before I would like physically sit down and with a pen and paper and be like, okay, what's funny, and that's harder that way, you know. I feel like it's easier to just live your life and put yourself in situations that can be funny, you know, which is tough too, you know. But that's how I try to stay active, obviously by doing podcasts as well too. I have a podcast. I had Chad on it yesterday, so that's good to just to talk.
What's the name of the pod?
The Stand-Up Life.
Life.
Yeah.
Nice. Chad, you gonna start doing stand-up? That'd be dope.
Oh man,
just take your shirt off.
Try, yeah.
If you don't laugh,
I don't know. Maybe I'll do. If Tumua writes for me, I can go up there and do. Tumua write me some jokes. I mean, speaking of that, I mean, there's some comics out there that they have writers.
They have writers.
Like man, I watched the Kevin Hart documentary, and like
Yeah.
you know, he had his, you know, writing jokes for him.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's cool too. Have you had anyone ever do that or approach you?
I get a lot of people come up to me and they go, "Oh, this would be funny, bro." Like, but it's not really funny.
Do you
A lot of random.
Like,
No, I just do like, "Oh, yeah." I get it all the time. Like the biggest local guys come up to me, "Hey, Tumua, I'm a big fan, bro. I've been a big fan. You know it'd be funny if you do this, if you say this. Hey, don't use me in your jokes. Don't use me in your jokes." But I never had like an actual writer come up to me and say they want to write for me.
Would you be open to that?
Maybe just to help me, I guess. But I can understand like if I was Kevin Hart, because he's doing like movie after movie. He has like 4 podcasts and he's like a whole
time to
machine. I don't even know if he's human. Yeah. So, and he is constantly touring, and every year you got to come up with a new hour of material.
Yeah.
And he has it like rapid fire.
Yeah.
So those guys at that level, I can understand that, and I mean he probably pays them well too. But yeah, if it gets to that point, that'll be cool.
Who's some of your inspirations, bro? Like as far as whether it's comedians or anyone, like who kind of has given you some inspiration and kind of like a visual of like where you're trying to head towards, you know what I mean?
You guys know who Sebastian Maniscalco is? Never heard of that comedian? No.
Nah.
You guys should look him up. He's an Italian comedian. He never performed here in Hawaii, but he's like one of the top touring comedians right now.
Okay.
But I looked up to him a lot, and his story is pretty wild. But he's like I think he's 52 years old, but he only blew up when he was like 40. But he's been doing comedy for so long, and then it finally hit, because that's all like before social media.
Right.
You know, I like him. Gabriel Iglesias, I was a big fan of Gabriel.
Okay.
He was actually my first Fluffy, the guy Fluffy.
Yeah,
he was my.
He came here, right?
Yeah, he came here a lot of times. My first stand-up show ever was watching him when I was like I was probably in like high school at Hawaii Theater. And I was like, oh, I was so amazed by how he can talk so long and just jump from topic to topic, and that's kind of like made me interested in becoming a comic. So and he's clean too. I'm preferably clean as well. On stage. So I like those 2 guys. Dave Chappelle is great as well. He's more like a philosopher. Richard Pryor is like everyone's comic. Local greats here: Andy Bumatai, Augie T, Frank DeLima, all those. Rap Replinger, all those guys.
What do you think is the common thread of these guys that make them great?
Right? I think they just don't give up. Like there's so many comics that try comedy and then they give up. Yeah. You know, comedy is a thing where you gotta just keep doing it night after night.
This is a true passion.
You gotta just keep going.
Like guys that give up because they want the success maybe and they don't get it right away, and it's like didn't work out.
Because it's just like that one, right? Like that one video, like you did with the toilet paper, right? It's like
something. You don't know when that that video is gonna take off. So just give your best every day. Yeah,
that's true. You mentioned like the guys like Andy Bumatai, and like you're like following in their footsteps. If not like with the social media age, you're surpassing them. You know what I mean? And as far as like international and reach and things like that. But how do you do you ever get like bad negative press or bad feedback? You know what I mean? Because you're also poking fun of our culture. But shoot, we do that.
Yeah, now's the time. Call them all out.
We do that often, all the time.
Let me get my notes real quick.
But do you ever get any bad
Not. I mean, I get some bad comments here and there, but I don't let it bother me. Like on videos and stuff. A lot of my material, not material, but a lot of my style. I do a lot of crowd work in the crowd. So I talk to people in the crowd and I kind of pick on them. Yeah, and it's getting popular now. Like people think that's all people do now is just do crowd work because of Andrew Schultz and all those guys that have been posting, like Matt Rife. Been posting stand-up clips. But the reason the reason why they post that is because it saves their material. They don't want to put their jokes out because these guys are paying good money to see that.
Right.
All these crowd work stuff is spontaneous and it'll never happen again in that exact moment. So you're like, okay, we can post it. I'm never gonna meet Roger with a blue hat again. Something like that. So some comments I seen oh, he just picks on people the whole show.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna come to his show. This is not comedy. But people don't realize me talking to the crowd is only 10% of the show.
Yeah.
The rest of it is jokes about myself and things that I go through. Yeah. But I just kind of mix it in with the crowd. So, but those are guys that don't really understand comedy. They never been to a comedy show probably. That's about. I get some hate messages here and there, or you're not funny, stuff like that, or you look so ugly. Nah.
I find
here and there.
Address. I'm gonna go get you, boy.
So, but I live west side, huh?
Oh, why not, bro?
Say my neighbors. Tell my neighbors.
But I just don't let it bother me. I never did let any negativity bother me. I think that's just a mentality that I had just being an athlete. You're always gonna have haters. You're always gonna have people that like you. You're always gonna have people that don't like you. You can't change the way they feel, but you can just be the best version of yourself. And I came to realize that before I would always adapt to the crowd. Okay, what they're not gonna get this. They don't think that's funny. That they wouldn't think that. But I realized that they want to see what Tumua thinks is funny. So I'm just thinking about what I think, my own personality, and just let them adapt to me.
That's awesome. That must have been a huge perspective shift for you.
Yeah. It was.
Wow. So would you say by now you're kind of in a groove, you're in a zone, you're comfortable on stage?
I still get nervous,
Is pregame nervous, anxious, ready to go?
Yeah, I like being nervous. People say, is it normal to get nervous and anxious? And I think if you don't have that, that's when you're going downhill.
Right.
When you're not humble anymore, because being nervous, it makes you alert. Yeah. It keeps you on your toes and it keeps your adrenaline pumping, and you kind of want that feeling and you want that drive. This is where I want to be. Just playing football, you get that pre-jitters, and once you hit that, when you make that first catch or when you land
tackle,
that first
hit,
that first joke, that first laugh, then it kind of eases into it.
Awesome.
Because I think from forever, when I keep doing this, I'm still gonna get nervous no matter what. But just I would say I'm not as nervous as before. Before I would try to just almost like a passer, being a robot. I gotta hit this point, this point, this point, this point.
Well, I guess that was my question. The group, you have your flow, your timing. You know what you can be doing.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you're first starting, it's you're just trying to get through the material.
Yeah. I would say I'm more relaxed now, and I try to be in the moment because that's when the best things happen. Before I would be telling a joke and thinking in my head, okay, I got to do this next joke after,
right,
and just be an autopilot. Which is not good, and the audience can sense that. Wow. You got to be.
This is good. This is good coaching points for people that are maybe aspiring.
Stop being so rigid, right? If you're rigid in life in general, you're not catching some of the gems and the opportunities that just come naturally. If that's one thing I've noticed in business and stuff. And I was talking to another friend on a different podcast, and was saying, You know, some salespeople, they're just like, I'm gonna just force feed this down your throat. It's like, hey, wrong audience, bro. Like, we ain't talking like that. Like, hey, he was bringing up like, hey, right? It's like in Hawaii, maybe a hey joke ain't gonna work. Texas, it might work. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, kind of just understanding the environment. And you probably have become. It's like I'm a big believer of like the rule of 10,000 hours, right? It's like you gotta put in the work and perfect your craft. I mean, you've probably become. They call it MC. A mic conductor, you know what I mean? Like, or a master of ceremony, you know what I mean? And it's like being able to publicly speak and understand how to kind of work a crowd and kind of get it going, right? But I mean, that's probably a craft that you're perfecting, you know what I'm saying? Like, what is it about like when you're on stage, you know what I'm saying, that kind of are you looking for to kind of like get the crowd involved in this? How do you get them more like into it, you know what I'm saying?
It all depends what kind of crowd there is. Like if a crowd is, hearty listening, and we can tell just because I have openers that go on before me. Yeah. Warm the crowd up and see, how they're feeling, if they're liking these jokes or not. And you can just tell, like if they're not paying attention. Maybe you gotta engage with them more. Maybe you gotta do more crowd work. Maybe ask these guys, hey, what do you do for a living? What's going on over here? Just maybe that would be like, okay, they're. Yeah, now they'll pay attention. Like, I hope he doesn't talk to me now. So you got them with that. Maybe if they're not feeling a certain subject, maybe they're not feeling, dating jokes, then just jump over to the next subject. The more you do it, the easier it gets.
The better you are at reading.
Yeah, right? Yeah. You got to read the room.
Read the coverage.
Yeah.
And adjust.
And repetition. We were talking about that too. Like the more shots you take, and the more practice shots you take in game time, it's not going to be something that is unfamiliar to you. You know what I mean? And Tumua, I think like, I'd love to double click on the skit part, right? Because I know a lot of comedians, and it's hard, right? How do you go from like, hey, I've been doing stand up my whole life. This is what I've been doing for the last 15 years. Oh, I gotta do these YouTube videos. Yeah. What YouTubers are the things? You know what I'm saying? Like PK. Shout out to my boy PK. What up, PK? Yeah. But he just, I connected him with Super Ego way back in the day, right? Super Ego is he's a YouTuber. He's like a Latino comedian. Now they're on tour. Yeah. And it's just weird.
Yeah, they have like 5 of them. Yeah, they go on tour. I've seen that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the great thing is they're smart, right? So Super Ego or Eric, he built his career off of YouTube. Yeah. He didn't know stand up. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he was just doing these skits, and he had like Ego the Cholo, and he had like all these different bits that he would do. And then now with PK, it's like, hey, let's combine like our superpowers, and now we're gonna go on a tour because you got the audience and kind of these bits, and now we're doing stand up and kind of fusing these worlds together. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a term called Medici effect. And the Medici effect is when 2 cultures come together to create a new culture, right? It's like almost like Hawaii. Right? We got all these like hybrid foods, and it tastes better, even, right? Like, you got the kimchi fried rice with
all the mixed plate.
I love it. You know what I'm saying? But there is something to this like blending of different cultures or different sectors that kind of create a new thing. And I kind of wanted to double click on that because, bro, like local guy, right here in Hawaii. You're like, hey, went to UH, took some classes. Hey, for my class, I got to go do the stand-up thing, right? I got to get credit for it, right? Yeah. So you did that, but you said yes, and you ventured, and you broke through to the next your ceiling cracked. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I could do this, right? Yeah. And then pandemic, well, maybe, honestly, a lot of comedians were probably like, there's nothing we could do. Everything shut down. Yeah. Limit. These are the limits, right? Right. You decided, I'm gonna put something about toilet paper. You know what I mean? I'm gonna still stay creative and keep it going. Yeah. You know what I mean? So just kind of curious, like how that whole roadmap like opened up. So you did the toilet paper skit, and then like, dude, bro, like how many followers you at now?
Right now, I just hit 200,000 on Instagram.
Congrats, man.
Like 250 on TikTok and 100 something on Facebook, and like 50 something thousand on YouTube.
But like when you first started doing it, you probably were like, 5,000. You probably couldn't even think 200.
Yeah. My goal was just to hit the 10,000 because I wanted to see the K.
I like that. That's a good goal. So, well, you got the K, and you got a couple more digits now. Yeah. But like how? Like I'm sure like our listeners and a lot of creators. So I helped start this thing called Hawaii Creators here in Hawaii, right? And put together all these influencers. And I was just like, I seen it on the mainland, so I was like, hey, we need to bring more creators together in Hawaii and let's work together. That was the vision for it. It was like, yo, let's like collaborate, right? And like figure out how to bring everyone up together. You know what I mean? But I'm sure a lot of the creators, because it is a new economy too. Yeah. Creators is like a new thing. Oh yeah. Right? Like Chad's even do it. Like, dude, I've been talking to Chad. I'm like, yo, do skits, right? Like dude, I love the content you guys put together, or when you guys are working out. Tumua.
Two more reps.
Two more reps, right? Like, I like that one. Hey, I've been watching. But like, what is it? Like, what are some tips or things that you think have worked for you? So one, you did say, and I know for a fact it works with the algorithm, is consistency.
Consistency, yeah. So my goal is to put like 1 to 2 videos a week up out there, like skits, funny videos, which is minute to a minute and a half, nothing too crazy. And I'll be constantly doing that because you never know what video is going to hit. Some videos are going to do bad, some videos are going to do good. But yeah, I think it's better to just post rather than just saying, oh, I don't think this is funny, I shouldn't post it. You know, just put it out.
How do you get over that? Like, I mean, I'm sure when you're writing content too, you're like, maybe try it on your wife or something. Like, hey, does this work? Does this not work? You know?
Yeah, I test it out with my family. My dad a lot, because I don't know, my dad's a good critic. He'd tell me, this is not funny. But sometimes he told me it's not funny, and that would be like a hit video. That video would blow up, you know. But now, like, or get into more professions, because social media is everything. Like, before I was doing just skits, but now I can do. Before I was doing stand-up clips, and then I would do stand-up clips and skits, and now podcasts. You know, so like you're hitting those three categories. And you have constant, you know, fuel to put it out.
I've been saying that recently and talking to creators. I'm like, I feel like podcasts like the new social media. Yeah. It's like, dude, to come up with like a 1 to 2 minute clip every single week. Yeah. It ain't easy, right? You gotta like set it up. And think about it and produce it. But podcasting, we have a formula, so I'll put it out there. We call it like the 7-1, the 8-clip formula, right? So we film one long form. And I'll throw it out there. I use this software called Veed.io. Yeah, it's an AI software. It's wild, bro. Like, dude, like AI is getting.
They put the captions on there and everything.
The captions, but they also have like stock video footage that you could throw in there. So if you type in like something you're talking about,
is it free or you gotta pay?
There's a free one. They put the water, you know. But like you could pay for it. Yeah. But the cool thing is like with Chad, like he'll be talking about like working out or like digging like something for gold, and then you type digging, and then it'll find all these clips to dig. So it's just adding a visual part to it.
Crazy.
Yeah, and then at the end though, now I can actually go through Chad's old videos, like football video clips, whatever, and now I have a Chad folder of all these 5-second clips. So when he's talking, I'll do a long form content, and I splice them up into 7 smaller clips. Yeah. And every day, you know,
have something.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And I feel like. So that's just like little tips for people that are listening to Shaka Take. Is like I want to give, like, one of the visions we have is to give like local entrepreneurs, local creators like resources to level up and get better here. That's our vision. Yeah. You know what I mean? Give a competitive edge. But like, so doing podcasting and stuff. As far as like, you know, for your like when was the moment you saw you were like, wow, this is hitting, like.
Probably when I sold out that run at the Blue Note. Yeah, and I was like, okay, I can do this, you know, for a living, because at that time I was working part time at Hawaii Stevedores, which is a good job here on the island. Yeah, because my dad and my brother have been working there for years, so they got me in there, and so I was doing both, and it would just be hard I would have conflicts, you know, like, oh, I gotta do a show this weekend, but I have to work that night. Yeah. You know, so I would have to tell my dad, oh, can you tell them that I'm not coming in?
Wow, that's crazy.
And, you know, 1 to 2 times they'd be like, okay. But then it was constantly happening. Yeah. And they're like, well, you can't keep doing this. You gotta choose, you know? So
like, I got the K now. Sorry.
Well, even that's crazy, because like, I mean, Hawaii, a lot of young guys, I mean, they would dream.
That's the most sought after job in Hawaii.
You know what I mean? And you turn down the Stevedores.
So I walked away from that, and it was hard for my dad to realize that, because he got me that job, and it was hard for him to pull strings to get me in there. But he was like, he was just on board with me and said, yeah, okay, this is what you want to do. It actually, because I told him, like, yeah, you know, I'm 28 years old, or right now I'm 28, but back then I was like 25, and I was like, you know, I got a lot of life ahead of me. I can always come back here later on in my 40s or whatever. And he's like, yeah, if you don't come back, then it'll be a good thing that you made it. So so far I never go back. So and I enjoy it now. You know, it's what I love to do. You know, when I was at work over there, I was just thinking about jokes and thinking, oh, I could be performing right now. You know, but it's a great job. Shout out to Hawaii stevedores and all the longshoremen all across the world, because we need them. And but yeah, that was a good moment. That was a moment I realized, like, the Blue Note shows.
Wow. How many followers did you have at that moment, you think?
Probably like 20 or 30,000.
So I want to lean into that, right? So did you notice anything when you went all in? I'm telling you, like almost every successful person I know, they have this like fork in the road. Like we've talked about that.
Yeah.
There's a fork in the road, and it's like, am I gonna kind of be where I'm at, or am I gonna just go and commit?
Yeah.
I see it. Let's go for it. I'm gonna go all in, and then boom. Yeah. Was there something like that kind of happened?
Yeah, it was like that. So like it was because with the Hawaii stevedores, you can work Monday through Saturday on call or just Sundays. So at first I was Monday through Saturday, and I would work like 3 times a week or so. It's on call. And then Sundays you only be available Sundays. So the first part when I switched to Sundays, I had so much more freedom to do skits and practice at these open mics and smaller shows. So right there, it was a big relief. Like, oh, I like this. And then I'll be sad when I get called on Sunday. Like, oh no, I don't want to go. You know? yeah. But yeah, I guess when I decided to go all in comedy, and you know, I told my dad and my family, like, this is what I want to do, and I just went all out with that, and was just in Hawaii. And I think making the leap going to the mainland was huge too when I decided to go on tour, just because I was getting a lot of messages and posts of people saying, oh, come to Vegas, come to Seattle, you know. So I hit all the hot spots,
right, all the Hawaii people.
The Hawaii people, and there's tons of Hawaii people outside of Hawaii. I think more out there than here sometimes. Like Seattle, for instance, like that's one of my hottest cities that people come out. Yeah. Now I'm at the point where I'm just thinking beyond Hawaii. Like, I feel like I got Hawaii on lock, and my goal is to get all of like Polynesia on board with me. And that's working as well too. Like when I go to the Bay Area, like it's not just Hawaii people at shows, it's people from the Bay Area, like Polynesian, Samoan, Tongans. They all come out. Utah as well. And a lot of it is just I got it with an agency, so I signed with CAA. So
you did?
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations, brother!
Thank you.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. Yeah. They're one of the biggest comedy agencies.
One of the biggest agencies in general.
Yeah. So they jumped on board with me last year. So that's how I've been getting all these clubs, and they've been hitting me, putting me in places that I never thought I would be in. Like I was in Minneapolis and Chicago, and you know.
Are there like Hawaiians over there?
There's some, yeah.
So 3. I want to ask you that. So when you go to these places that maybe isn't that big of a Hawaii following, and it's just their local people, how was that response? Like they love the joke still? Like
it was a challenge. I think you know, comedy's universal. People always ask like, oh, you still gonna talk pidgin like that? But I mean, I can flip it on and off. Like right now, I'm not really talking pidgin, you know, and people are understanding how I talk. It's just like black people when they talk slang, you know, like it's everybody just has their own accent, and it makes you unique, you know. They want to see that side of you, and in today's age, I feel like Hawaii has been put out more on the map, and Polynesia. Like there's people like you'd be surprised how much a lot of people know the term haole. Like that's a universal term. I feel like a lot of people know that.
Yeah. You can't use it on the mainland no more. Like, oh, we know.
Yeah.
Stop it.
No, but they understand like what.
They call themselves haole. I'm one haole.
I'm a haole. Yeah. But we see it like in the industry. Like they're coming out with more films. Like they recently did Lilo and Stitch, the live remake. Moana is coming up too, the live remake. Ium Tongi won the American Idol. You know. All these Polynesians is it's almost like how they're pushing the minorities and diversity. So it's good to be unique, because there isn't any like top Polynesian comedian out there right now. So that was my goal too.
Yeah, it's you.
Yeah, there is. It's you.
There's gonna be 2 more. 2 more.
How's it like for you to wear that mantle? You know what I mean? Like I think a lot of young guys, especially in Hawaii, looking at you, kind of like how we used to look at Chad, and how we still look at Chad. he was putting Hawaii on the map. You know, especially in the mainland and getting Hawaii out there.
Yeah.
All these guys, I mean, we're so proud of you. You know, like how does it feel like wearing that mantle of?
I just feel like a regular person, you know, just a regular local boy, just trying to do jokes. But I do like opening that pathway for people and making them realize, like, oh yeah, we are funny here in Hawaii. We can do comedy now. It's not just, you know, like the typical white guy, typical white comic, typical black comic. Now there's a lot of Asian comics as well too. Almost just like opening that pathway, like Joe Coy and Filipinos. You know, he opened up Filipino comedy.
Yeah.
Now there's like a ton of Filipino comedians. You know, so it's cool to start that trend and just to make people realize that they can do comedy too, and anything's possible.
Yeah. Quick question. I want to just like cement this. So, Chad and Pono, would you say right now that Tumua is the most successful Hawaii-based comedian right now?
Ever? Or like, I mean, right now for sure.
Right now.
But I mean, I think even, you know, I don't know.
I just want to lock it in right now, just so that
as far as because
hey, I want you.
let's local comedians, like they never was touring.
Yeah,
they never went to the mainland. They never went outside of here. You know what I mean? Like there's, I mean, maybe a little bit, but not as much. And I think today's age, like social media, obviously helps with boosting. But you know, I think what you're doing now is truly special. It's unique, something to be proud of. And we've already said, hey, we're all proud of you. You know, when someone from Hawaii makes it big and is successful outside of the islands, I think that's something that we can all stand on. And I think Tumua is definitely at the top right now. And, you know, I know he's a humble guy. Basically, what Pono was asking, do you feel like a celebrity right now? Because you're a celebrity, you know. But that's just the mindset you have to have always, you know, humble. You know, always got to be humble. But I think Tumua is definitely, you know, at the top right now and you know, paving the way for any future comics that want to pursue and do what he's doing. I think what would be cool is that, you know, we talk about this a lot, right, Daniel? Someone's success, we want to know your playbook, you know, maybe there can be something you could do to like a school or educational wise to help comics. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know,
well,
you're
that's
throwing
what
out,
the stand up
yeah.
for. But I think that'd be a great thing, man, because there is a lot of comedians right now in Hawaii on social media more, but they're trying to break out. They want to, you know, they see your success and man, that's cool. Like, man, I would love to be able to have an opportunity to do that. So how do you feel you can help those people right now that are trying to, like, you know, maybe do more and kind of do what you're doing?
Yeah, kind of like you said, just giving them an opportunity to get out there. I do get a lot of messages of like comedians here in Hawaii that just do social media stuff, and they say, "No, I want to do stand up." You know, you have any advice and all that? And the best advice I tell them is like, just get on stage. You know, because everybody asks like, "Oh, I want to do comedy," but they don't want to get on stage. Like you gotta get on stage. You know, you cannot just stay at home and practice in front of the mirror. It's different. You know, even if you have like 2 jokes, just get on stage and do those 2 jokes. And like I feel like the first year you just gotta get comfortable just being on stage, comfortable with the microphone, comfortable with how far you hold it, you know, comfortable with the mic stand, comfortable with the lights coming in your eyes and not seeing anything, and just be comfortable with yourself on stage. Because so many guys like message me, "Oh, I want to do comedy, but they don't get on stage." And that's the main thing, is get on stage,
get your reps in. I think that's been a common theme with the Shaka Tank. Almost every guest that we've had that's had any success, it's like, get started. Like journey of 10,000 miles or 100,000 miles starts with one single step. And it's the ability, like even we've talked about, Chad and like Pono's, like just get out and start doing it. Do that first thing to build your momentum, right? And then, you know, the rest is kind of, you know, how life builds. The reason I asked that, right, and I think this is kind of a special moment, if I could, right? So I wanted to just be like, give you your props too, Tumua, but as far as the business side goes, and me, you know, us being local guys here in Hawaii, right, is I've talked a lot about this one. Have you heard of the 4-minute mile?
Yeah, and someone that it was impossible until someone broke it. Yeah. So and now everybody did it.
Yeah. Right. So it's like, I feel like that is this energy or almost a spirit in Hawaii. It's almost like, oh, we don't know, unless uncle or cousin did it, we don't know if we could do it, right? But the fact, so yes, maybe schools, maybe podcasts, maybe content, but I think the fact that the best thing you could do for the next generation is just keep killing it, bro.
Yeah. Set up the blueprint like this is how.
Yeah.
Or just
do it. Yeah.
they just be like, hey, Tumua from West Side, he from Tuinei. Or you know what I mean? Like, and like we could do too, you know. And the little, I'm gonna say it right. The keiki. Did I say it right?
Yeah, you said it right.
Okay. They clowned me last time. Like, what's the keiki? But the keiki, right?
Keiki, yeah.
They get to see you, Tumua. I just want your kid, your daughter has now a visual my son. It's crazy. He gets to see dad do these deals, right? You know what I mean? Like I'm working with I've been in the entertainment space for like 20 years, right? I was at Interscope Records. I did a bunch of stuff in entertainment and whatever. But to him, it's just familiar. He's like, oh, yeah, dad just did a deal with Dad Won't Be Kid. Like, oh, that's normal, right? And I almost feel like instead of normalizing like the negative things, right? It's like, how do we normalize success? How do we normalize an abundant mindset? Yeah. How do we normalize like, hey, let's not have to slave and work 3 jobs?
Yeah.
Like, cause that was another thing I wanted to bring up so I have this picture on my wall at home, and it says making space, and it's spread out space for life to happen. Yeah. And I realized this, and a lot of aspiring entrepreneurs, when you just fill your plate with a bunch of stuff, you got no space to be creative.
Yeah.
Like, even in your shows, if you crank, like, I gotta fit 8 bits, like in this. It's like, yo, you don't have that space. Like one guy said some weird things. And, hey, you want to be creative with it? You know, God created us to be creative, and go with the flow. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I feel like, hey, I just wanted to throw that out there, bro. Is like, yo, I think one of the best things that you're doing is just keep crushing it. And then the second part was that you actually made space for for success to happen. This is just cramming things. Yeah. But anyways, I just wanted to shout that out, bro. But does that kind of resonate with you too? Like, do you feel like that's kind of what you're doing? Like, you're kind of like, hey, man, I'm just focused on mine, and like that could be the best thing you could do for the next generation.
Yeah, I'm just trying to stay in my own lane and just crush it, because I like, out of all the success you said that I had, I still feel like I have way more to gain. Like I don't think I even started I didn't even hit my peak yet. I feel like, because I don't have a Netflix special, which is something that I want to do next, which is somewhat in the works, coming soon. So we'll see what happens. But
let's get it going, CAA. Come on,
on Netflix. Some more on Netflix.
That's the next goal.
Sold out. That's gonna be the
title. That's the next goal. But I mean, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. There's so many comics who didn't get a Netflix special, and that turned out to be even better for them later on in the years, because they would put it up on YouTube or whatever, and that would go viral, and they would sell out shows even more on that. Wow. So I mean, I don't think like, oh, I gotta do this or I'll fail. You know, I just keep living my life, keep doing show by show. Like next week I have a show in Kauai, so I'm trying to give them the best material I have right now, and just to make them have a good time, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, Tumua, I want to appreciate you hopping on the pod, you know, and Chad, like, you know, it's kind of cool that, in my opinion, 2 of the most successful exports of Hawaii, right? Because it didn't just do it in Hawaii. I think that's key. That's major keys right there, right? It's like, I thought what you just said is like, I didn't want to just get comfortable with Hawaii. Like, I went to the mainland. Then I went to Seattle, and it's cold and it rains, right? Like, went to Chicago, and you're like, hey, you know, you just kept going. And I would want to encourage the listeners to think about that, right? Because I think you went off, you know, to the mainland. You went to you didn't stay comfortable. I think that's one of the key things is like, hey, let's get out of our comfort zones and say yes.
Yeah. It's the hardest thing to do is getting outside of your comfort zone, right? Choosing something that's hard, something that's new. Right. That's you know, I think Hawaii people, we get so comfortable in our confinement here, right? Because we're in a confined space basically in Hawaii. Family, it's comfortable, it's, you know, they don't want to step outside that box, but I encourage you to step outside that box, and you know, sometimes choose the hard route, you know. Right. Choose the hard route, because like, you know, Tumua said, hey, maybe down the road, whatever, can come back to the stevedores, or that's coming back to comfort, coming back to something that's there. Family, you know, this isn't going anywhere. Right. So you have a limited time in this life, which Tumua made that choice to leap and choose maybe not the hard route. He chose passion. This is what I love to do. So if you have a passion out there, but you're feeling stuck, right? Hey, just take a leap of faith and go through it. Give it a shot.
And they call that a mic drop, right?
Yeah, for real, yeah.
That's what it is, man.
That's good.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Life is too short. You only live once. You know, do what you feel like you're destined to be in life, and just do it.
Yeah. So as we wrap, and you might have just said it right now, but I always ask our guests, like, are there any last golden nuggets that you've kept for your own success? It could be life, it could be business, but any golden nuggets you'd love to share? Or, and then the second part, because you are probably, I'm going to say this, you're the most successful comedian coming out of Hawaii. Right now, I'm marking it in the Shaka thing. But anything you want to say to your fans and just like anything out there?
Thank you guys for being my fans from day one. Couldn't have done it without you guys, you know, and I feel like you made a big part of my career, whether it's coming to my shows constantly, watching my skits online, tuning into the podcast, or even episodes on here, you know, or the new fans that I gained from this podcast. So welcome aboard. But yeah, like Chad said it too, just you got to make that leap. You know, there's going to come a point where you have that fork in the road, like you said, and you know what you're meant to do in life, you know. God probably told you about it. You know, this is what you're gonna feel that moment, just like when I felt that moment when I sold out those shows at Blue Note, and I could see the faces on the people, like how I made them so happy and gave them an escape route of all the mess going on during COVID, and they can just forget about politics, forget about, you know, all the COVID stuff, and just come out and laugh. And I really feel like that's what I was meant to do. And funny thing, like my name, Tumua, if you look it up, it means to stand and talk, like in Samoan. So like it's like a status they give to the person, like Tumua.
Born to do this.
Yeah, so I didn't even know that until because my whole name is Tumua Uatasi, which is like to stand the one and only chief of all chiefs forward. But just Tumua is like they use that as like the speakers would come up and like Tumua, like stand up to speak and talk.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah. So
When'd you find that out?
I found this old Samoan dictionary, translation English to dictionary book, and I just seen my name in there, and that's what it said.
Wow.
Dude, that's like the beginning of a Disney movie.
That's crazy.
Yeah. To stand, it's like to stand to talk in front of like at meetings and stuff like that.
Wow.
Because my whole name is Tumua Uatasi, which is like the one and only chief. Like I said, like forward, like Mua is like coming forward, but like Tumua is to stand. That's the term they would use.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, bro, I think you're honoring your name. I think you've
Yeah.
honored Hawaii. I think you've honored your lineage and your bloodlines of, you know, your culture too. So, bro, like, really appreciate you you coming on the Shaka Tank Pod. Just at the end of the podcast, we like to Shaka out. So thanks to Tumua for hopping on.
Yeah, of course.
But the Shaka Tank.
Automatic.
Shaka out.
All right.